Hey guys, it's Morgan, and today I'm going to be filming my December wrap-up. In the month of December, I read 6 books. I had 4 4-star books and 2 3-star books. So I'm going to start with the 3-star books and then do the 4-star books. So the first 3-star book I read was Stormbreaker by Anthony Horowitz, the graphic novel. I read this twice last year just because I wanted a couple of short books right at the end when I was still trying to meet my goal. So I read this one. I don't like this one as much as the other ones because this one is based off of the movie and not the actual book, and they changed quite a few things for the movie. I mean, it follows it really well, but there are a lot of little things that they changed in the movie that actually didn't happen in the book. So that's kind of a bummer. But I did like this book the second time. I mean, I'll keep it because I love the Alex Rider series, and so I'm going to have all the graphic novels when they come out. I only have the first 5, and they actually don't match. These ones are a lot bigger, but they're progressively coming out with the graphic novels. So if you don't know what this book is about, you probably haven't been on my channel very long because I do love this series and I talk a lot about it. But this basically just follows this kid named Alex who, in the beginning of the book, his uncle is murdered, but it's made to look like a car accident, and then it turns out he was a spy for MI6, and they recruit Alex to be a spy. And that's basically what the series is about, is each book is a different mission that he goes on, and he has an advantage because most people don't suspect kids of being spies, so he's got a little bit of an advantage there, but also he's at a disadvantage because he's a kid. And so, I don't know. I really like this series. Even the graphic novels are good. I gave this 3 stars. It was okay. The next book that I gave 3 stars is Legend, the graphic novel by Marie Lu. So I know that Prodigy and Champion also have their own graphic novels, but I don't have them yet. I have to read Champion. I reread Legend and need to reread Prodigy and then read Champion because it's been years. I believe Champion was a Christmas present from my grandma in like 2014 or 2015. Right around when it came out because it's a hardcover. But I do enjoy this book. If you don't know what the series is about, it's a dystopian series about this girl named, I forgot her name, June. And so June and Day are the main characters. June is from a family of privilege, and Day is not. He's from a very poor family. And they have this test that kids take when they're 12 or 14. And they have to get a certain score. If they get below this score, they're sent to work camps because they're not smart enough to be in society. So these kids who score high enough get to go back to their lives. Depending on how high their score is, determines what kind of job they can get. And June scored a perfect score. First person ever in history taking the test to score a perfect score. And so she's on her way to becoming a very prominent military person. Her brother's in the military, and her dad was in the military, but they died in a car accident. One day her brother is murdered, and the main suspect is Day, he scored too low on his test. He was sent to a work camp, which wasn't actually a work camp because the government likes to hide things and secrets, and he's become sort of a vigilante problem kid for this military, and he's on the most wanted list, and he's the main suspect for her brother's murder, so she ends up trying to find him to bring him to justice for killing her brother. So that's the first book. I can't really remember what the second book is about, and I didn't read the third book, but I really like this series. The other books that I read are all 4 stars. So I read All My Friends Are Dead by Avery Monson and Jory John. I read this book to complete my goal of 50 books for the year of 2018. I don't like to read picture books, like kid books, but I really needed 50 books. That was my goal. My goal started out as 80 books, and then I moved it to 50, knowing I wasn't going to make it to 80 books. So I just read this one to push me over. I didn't want to read 49 books when my goal was 50 books, so I just really quickly read this on December 31st. This is a hilarious book. If you have not read it, then you totally should. I do know that there's a sequel called All My Friends Are Still Dead. I haven't read it yet, But my mom got this for me for Christmas in 2017, and it's just hilarious. It's a great book. It talks about a lot of dead friends. And then I also read And the Ocean Was Our Sky by Patrick Ness. I liked this book. I gave it 4 stars. The highest rated graphic novel I've ever read. This is a retelling of Moby Dick, and it's a lot about war and what war turns people into. It reminds me a lot, the message in it, of his Chaos Walking series, especially the 3rd book, Monsters of Men, because war makes monsters of men, and it's a lot about war and what it does to people and communities and societies and all that kind of stuff. And so I did enjoy this book. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I really liked it. Plus, look at how pretty this actual book is. It's so pretty. I love it. Even though I don't usually like red. But this graphic novel is beautiful in the way it's illustrated. It's all, let me see if I can find a good picture. It's all black and gray and white, but there is also like oranges and reds, but that's the only color. So this is, let me try and find one that has red in it. Like, here's one that has red in it. So those are the only colors. So it's blacks and grays and whites and reds, and then the one page that has orange on it. And so I thought it was very beautifully illustrated. But I did like this book. And the other 2 books I read, I don't actually have copies of. Let's see, I read The Little Prince. But I can't remember who it's by. But I know it's a French name. I can't remember exactly. I don't even know how to pronounce it. But it's an older book. I think it was written in the 70s or the 80s, or maybe even before that. But it's directed at children. I feel like it's kind of not really a children's book. But I read it for book club, and I really enjoyed it. It's just like a short book. It only took me about an hour and a half to read. But it was a very interesting book. I did enjoy it a lot. I know there's a movie on Netflix, and since I've read the book, I know that they added a lot to the Netflix movie, but the same story, the Little Prince part, the paper-looking animation is the same. But yeah, that one was very interesting to read, and I liked reading it and discussing it as a group. It was great. And then the last book, The Ship Beyond Time, by Heidi Hellig. I read that. I finished it on the 31st, just barely. And it's the sequel to The Girl from Everywhere, and it's a continuation of the story. So basically she lives on a ship with her father, and they can travel to any time and any place if they have a map to it. So a real place, a historical place, a future place, a mythological place. If they have a map for it, they can sail there. And they call themselves navigators. And I don't really want to talk about the second book because it's a continuation of the first book, and it would spoil the first book if you haven't read it, and it would also kind of give stuff away. But the first book is about her father, the captain, trying to find a map back to 1868 Hawaii, I believe, to save her mother from dying. So Nix is the main character. Her mother died in childbirth, and he's trying to get back to save her life. That's what the first book is about. And the second book is second. But yeah, so those are the books I read in December. I really enjoyed them. I read 6 books. I'm pretty proud of myself. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!